Rengar too, and whilst those were exciting on their own, they really fell behind when it came to macro.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and I think they got caught off by the experience of someone like Fire, who really led the jungle pathing and just made it a living hell for Kurak and Rila down in that bottom lane. So to me, coming to this second game, Skimmy, what I want to see is I want to see them paying a bit more respect to the potential plans that have been set in motion by things even as early as level 1, right? You know that's going to happen. Is there a way that you can prep a TP from one of your solo laners to come down and protect that dive? But that will all be seen and discovered as we load in to Champion Select for Game 2.
No, we certainly do. Let's see if any of these bans change too much up from last time. Kanga's still sticking with that first ban onto Rumble. No surprise there. As are the same coming out of Ground Zero as well. Now, I suppose the question becomes then, from Kanga, is it a case of we want to still see something a little bit off-brand, but with a degree of conforming to the meta? So it can be something out of the fold of things, but it fulfills that role of like it's got better engage or better wave clear or better ability to try and do stuff, pre-6.
Hey, Rilla's got to move his camera back. Real talk for a second there. That guy is playing about 1 centimeter from his camera. But to your point, Skibby, the bans are actually the exact same here from Kanga, right? They're not opting to actually take away the Ashe from the hands of Benvi, so it's just going to be the run back.
It is looking at the run back, and to your point about Rila as well, it's like we're like doing a CS stream, you know, when they always have their face right next to the monitor, always like checking every angle. That's what it feels like when I see his camera right now. I'm scared. I am scared. Let's hope he can use that sort of intimidating presence on the Rift itself. The Chambers are locked in so far, so still is going to be the first pick of the Ashe, which I guess we're not too surprised on. But the formula for Kanga is, okay, we have to deny this Varus. That in tandem was too much.
Look, I like this adaptation, right? It says that you're not willing to play into that double poke, double range composition, which was so troublesome for the side of Kanga. But now it's going to be the Kalista locked in. It's going to be a Xin Zhao. So still a very strong early game trio that can skirmish around this bottom lane.
Yeah, really, really strong. We know exactly what it could do last game. We're expecting very similar things this time as well. The Kalista is obviously going to be the biggest change up here, but still not going to change too much in terms of what their game plan is. Lots of push and lots of damage. They can lock you down with any kind of CC or
interesting.
Slow. Karma going to be their option instead, so definitely veering away from the aggressive pike.
Yeah, so I mean, 2v2 range support versus range support, it's going to be kind of a pushing battle. The thing is, the Karma Varus actually is going to be able to quite easily poke out this Kalista, right? Unless they're able to take extended trades from the side of Ground Zero, they're actually feeling pretty good towards this bot lane, right? So hopefully you can flip the script from last game, maybe contest the priority, and then it's not so much of a worry if you're getting dove.
I'm just waiting for the day we bring back the likes of, what was it, Karma Caitlyn or Lux Caitlyn. It was just a permanent push, so much CC, and then one-shots galore, right? Towers just falling down like you would not believe. But as you say, yeah, Karma's going to be phenomenal. You're really making sure that Limus has his work a little bit more cut out for him than in Game 1. Now, this is where things do start to change up a little bit. The ban still, you'd imagine, pertaining to the top lane. They're going to ban away the Kennen first of all, and then out comes the Volibear too. What do we make of this?
I mean, the Volibear is super intriguing for me there, right? Because that's a really good matchup for Jax. In fact, it's one of his almost favorite matchups because of how much value he gets out of the Counter-Strike. He can just kind of jump on to that Volibear and beat him to death. But the Kennen makes sense, right? That is a matchup where TN would be able to play at range. He'd be able to disengage the Jax very easily. So now the question for me is, does TN go back to this Vladimir? It didn't find as much success as I think he would have liked. But the Renekton ban as well here, Skimmy. This is obviously some stuff happening behind the scenes in practice, because a Renekton mid to me isn't something that I'm thinking of as a meta pick, but perhaps it could be a Jax jungle that Invictus is preparing.
Yeah, if we are having multiple flexes happening at once, then certainly some knowledge has been discovered through scrims or just from their own solo queue experiences. Out comes the Kha'Zix. You said you wanted something still kind of crazy. Well, that is another one of their go-to champions. If you are a bit of a proficient assassin, Kha'Zix certainly comes to mind, but feels like one of the champs that you would say probably even has less of a sample size than the Vlad.
Yeah, and Skimmy, look, this is even more of a problem in terms of skirmishing junglers than last game, right? We talked about how the 3v3 bot lane would be so important in terms of being able to contest prio, as here we go again, the Vladimir is picked up, but towards this bot lane, Kha'Zix compared to Xin Zhao, if you're fighting a 3v3 in the middle of the lane, it's not even comparable, right? The Xin Zhao is just going to have such a better time of it. So I hope Kanga have come into here with the plan. I hope they can use this priority early on to allow the Kha'Zix a bit of time to scale and get into those mid-game fights where it could potentially pick off a squishy target.
Well, now is the interesting consideration, right? I mean, Fakise really could have picked anything he liked. Obviously, insanely good as the Akali. LeBlanc's still up and available, which he could have locked in for the 5th pick again, which is just absolutely criminal given how strong it was yesterday. But it's going to be let through completely this time, opting for the Azir instead.
Yeah, the Azir will be taken up here. The Vlad again into the Jack, so Tien comfortable running it back. And Skimmy, it's also a very similar draft actually compared to what we had last game, right? Ground Zero only changing up their AD carry and mid laner, and Kanga changing their bot lane, but keeping that assassin paired with Syndra and Jax in the top side the same. So the big difference to me is whether this bot lane can actually fight for prio now that they're not limited by that melee support. And if they can, hopefully they can buy a bit more time for Wudon to save the game like he tried so desperately to do in Game 1.
Well, then perhaps, I suppose, in theory, we should then see a little bit more of a balanced understanding of how this bot lane should really function, because it was fairly non-existent in Game 1. Did obviously snowball out of control to become a bit of a nuisance where they couldn't contest things like the Dragon. They couldn't really go to help shove out these waves. So whether or not we find ourselves in a more even footing here, where suddenly we actually understand, okay, just how strong are Rila and Kurek as a combination into what would be a fairly strong litmus test in can you hold your own against the likes of Lemus and Benvi?
Yeah, it certainly is a tough test to welcome you to the bot lane. I mean, a bot lane that has so much experience playing together, over almost a year and a half of experience in terms of splits, playing together as a duo, so certainly very proficient. But to me, the big question is, how will Invictus fare on the assassin this time, right? The Rengar didn't get as much value as he would have liked early on, purely because he was running from losing lane to losing lane. But this time, can he take advantage of the priority that he should have in some of his lanes? Can he use that to move into the enemy jungle and perhaps accelerate the game that way?
So, talking about jungle then, from a sense of Schönfire, given that his lock-in comps haven't changed too drastically, are you expecting very similar sort of output where he is looking for those very early level 1 and 2 dives? I mean, obviously it's very conditional given that they were very much pushed back underneath their tower, but
yes,
I wouldn't be too surprised because that just has been the brand that Schönfire's played on O's for like the last year.
Schönfire will be bot this game, whether it's a dive or a gank. That is absolutely his playstyle, and when you're looking at this composition, you're actually going to need to help out this Kallisto, right? Especially in the early game. She does have a decent level 1, but beyond that, if Rilla and Kurak can secure control of this bot wave, it is going to be quite tough for them to actually contest, and they will actually be the ones getting shoved in this game. So I would definitely expect Schönfire to be active around this bot lane early on, even from level 2 perhaps, depending on how feisty he wants to get. Because if you can burn these summoners early, if you can, force a flash, force a cleanse out of the Varus at this point in the game, the second those level 6s come online, it's just going to be another dead bot lane.
That certainly will be, and I suppose now finally running it out in the top lane. The only lane that did not change between both these teams, the Vladimir into the Jax once again. Surely Wudon's feeling pretty warmed up and ready and basically confident about his chances of having secured, 3 solo kills in that matchup as for Tien. Perhaps a point to prove. There's a lot of close chances where he's barely evaded or barely, just missed out on getting the kill himself. So would you say, I mean, somebody of Tien's caliber, we know he likes to sort of laugh things off and all that, and we saw it certainly at the end of Game 1, but surely there's a point where it's like, well, I've been around in this region for such a long time. I can certainly showcase that, I'm much better than what I really showed in Game 1.
I think you hit the nail absolutely on the head when you said earlier that how narrow it was of a margin between those deaths. Right, I think Tien is the type of player to be able to go back after that game and realize that he just made silly mistake after silly mistake, right? That is really what it was. It wasn't a case of him getting outplayed. It was a case of him outplaying himself, not popping that Sandrine pull at the right time, getting a bit too aggressive at an item discrepancy. So for him to be able to run this matchup back signals to me that he has the confidence, he has the faith in himself to be able to shore up those mistakes that he made last game.
Well, that's what we're hoping for. We want to see a exciting game one way or another. It's just taking a little bit longer for us to load into the Rift here for that second game. So apologies for that. Bear with us as we do talk our way through this one for the meantime. But a quick refresher if you've just tuned in. Ground Zero currently leading the series 1-0. It's a best of 2. A chance for Kanga to try to at least walk away with a single point. As we mentioned yesterday, the way it works, given it is a best of 2 across the board, every game you get a flat 2-0 victory. It's 3 points for yourself. A draw, at least you walk away with a point each. And obviously, if you get 2-0'd, then it's nothing to take away with you. So this would be massive. If Kanga at least walk away with 1, having not changed too much in the draft, it'd be a strong vote of confidence.
Well, that's what it is, Skimmy. It is that vote of confidence that they're happy running back the way that they're kind of approaching the drafts. I do like the variation as well. The fact that they're not willing to just all in on this Pyke, But to me, the fact that you're putting Invictus on an Assassin for the second time in a row really speaks to the confidence that you have in him. Right, he's clearly shown in solo queue that he can play them. He's probably shown in scrims as well that he can have good performances on them. But so often you see these players coming in as a solo queue prodigy into something like Pro, and they just get molded into whatever the meta is, right? You're just playing the Poppies, the Vi's, the Graves. There's all this stuff that you need to be able to play as a Pro jungler. And yes, that's important, but it's also important to retain your identity, right? Because as this unexpected team, they're kind of the underdogs in the league, at least one of them. So to be able to have this dark horse threat who can pop out, who can play something like a Kha'Zix or Rengar that you're not necessarily familiar with, can be in your favor.
Certainly. I mean, I know when I did some of the research going into this roster, I was thinking, all right, what makes this jungle special? And I saw that it was just a lot of Rengar, Kha'Zix, as well as Zed and Kayn.
Yes.
So assassin to a T. But we like that. We've certainly seen over the years players have their unique champions like the Mhumus. We've had, the Evelyn from Kevi as well. So I'd love to see like another assassin come on through to showcase that, hey, look, these pocket picks, they can find value. They're not just a solo queue superstar, but they can farm LP on a competitive circuit as well. Thank you for bearing with us. Finally, loaded into the Rift here for game number 2. As mentioned before, Grand Zero currently leading this 1-0, and I'll be hoping to close it out and take away all the points. But can Kanga bounce back?
I see what you did there, Skimmy. Can Kanga bounce back? I like it.
That was good. That was good, wasn't it?
Looking at the runes here going into this game, the option for Conqueror here on the Kha'Zix is quite interesting to me, because this kind of signals to me, in addition to the fact that he's gone for the green smite instead of the blue, that he's playing this more kind of bruiser type of Kha'Zix build, where you're often playing off multiple rotations, you're evolving the W to be a bit more utility, a bit more survival oriented, as opposed to that glass cannon who just jumps in and gets one shot. And then on the other side, you've got the double comet for this Kanga bot lane. We mentioned Varus Karma, and already a very oppressive bot lane. You add these runes into the mix, you add some lethality that this Varus is going to be going, there is just so much damage coming out of these two champions.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage, and that's what's made the series so exciting, right? Is the fact that we have had a bit of an absence when it's come to your traditional tanks. Nobody willing to really bite the bullet and say, look, I'll pick up the slack here. It's like, no, I want to be a carry. I want to do damage. I want to have fun, really, is what I'm seeing from this one. But sometimes having fun is just winning the game, and sometimes the tank is needed to try and achieve that. But I feel like we're going to be spending a lot of time looking at bot lane. Should be a much more even affair, given that there is, at this time, 2 range champions to poke, harass, and really wrestle for that level 2 control.
And this is really aggressive use of summoners here by Ground Zero, forcing the flash and cleanse out of this Varus. And Skimmy, we're starting to see why this Ashe is such a problem, right? The range that she brings, the damage she offers early on with this Hail of Blades is so profound that she can just pop the barrier level 1, run at you, and suddenly you've lost Prio, you've lost double sums in a lane that you really need to push out.
Incredibly aggressive from both sides there. Certainly makes it a big question mark ping as to where is that jungler. As we know, Invictus has just pathed away to the top half of the map, but Shernfire is here, as is to be expected. It's a classic. Level 2, level 3, I'm here in the area, and I am looking to punish the fact that you have no flash, no cleanse, and nothing left. It's Deja Vu, Max. It's First Blood again. It's going the way of Shernfire, but hey, this time Rila at least walks away a 1 from the grave.
Correct has flash. He could potentially look for Shernfire there, but doesn't want to take the guessing game. He is going to run him out there as Shernfire gets away. But Skimmy, it absolutely is Deja Vu, right? That stacked wave. Invictus on the enemy blue buff as well. It feels like Kanga didn't learn from their previous mistakes. They're not protecting their bot lane. And suddenly it's a 12 CS lead. It's a kill going to the hands of Shernfire. As we take a look at this again, right, you can see the stacked wave in the earlier work from the Ground Zero bot lane, burning the sums. Rila can do absolutely nothing but watch as he gets taken down. And Benvi's auto attack there actually kills him. If he doesn't channel that auto attack, it's just a clean 1 for 0.
Would have been a clean 1 for 0. Would have been the case for Shernfire just getting out of turret range as well, and not dying like he did in game 1 to the exact same play. But back to lane they go. It's only level 2, but already feeling the wrath of that punishment coming through once again, and a chance to see if they can hold their own whilst that all-important flash summoner is down for the next few minutes. Meanwhile, top lane, we'll be checking in whenever we get a chance to see what happens here, and if we are going to have any kind of different narrative take place this time around. We can see that Invictus is on the way. He's going to be spotted by Vision, so Tien has a bit of time to try and respond to this one. He's already burnt the Ghost. Yet to use that flash, but we'll suspect something awry. Burning that blood pool nice and early here. Counter-Strike going to be denied. Flashing on his Invictus, misses the Void Spikes, but looking to try and go for the auto attack. And Woodon's there to get it. Would you believe it? That's 4 times now.
Yeah, and honestly, Skimmy, it feels a bit disrespectful from Tien there. Invictus was on vision while that happened, but I think Tien really overestimated how much value he would get out of the Ghost there. And like you mentioned, he had a very firm grasp on the lane. You saw the HP advantage he had, but that's all subverted the second that kill comes across. So Wudon, much like game one, doing the unexpected in a counter matchup.
What a time. I mean, it'd be interesting if we even got an interview with Tien afterwards to say, mate, talk us through this game. What does it mean to be Vladimir? You're just trying to pad the stats for globally and get this one back into the fold of things, as it hasn't been working out too well so far, but it's been so close. It feels criminal to try and write him off in such a simple fashion as such. Out goes the vision. There's to be revealed by Benvi. Gonna crash a massive wave. Very easily, just repeat the same style of gameplay again. Go across to the Dragon. You'd imagine stacked up for an easy win con.
And this is what having that priority allows you to do, right, Skimmy? I mean, yes, you're worried about a dive if you're Kanga, right? So you bring your jungler down, you make him hit the Gromp, and your bot lane just receives the wave under turret, but they can just walk up, they can get that Dragon, and it really feels like for a Karma Varus who should be winning early, who should have all this damage and wave pressure, they are just forced to sit and watch what Ground Zero do whatever they want with these waves.
It does seem like, you've changed all these different components to try and get yourself a bit more of a favorable matchup, but ultimately things do stay the same. And a lot of it just comes down to the experience throughout this bot lane from Ground Zero, the fact that they know exactly what Kanga are going to be hunting for, denying that from the very get-go, and serving Schönfire on a silver platter, a very easy gank target to get themselves that first blood. Now Invictus is going to go across to the Void Grubs and look to try and trade things out in that fashion, and hopefully give themselves that sieging success, which, despite having that ability, wasn't able to come online.
Not again.
Schönfire here again, level 5 state aim, so in they go, Benvi with the barrier! He's flashed away, but died to the Ignite, the turret fully ramped up! It does so much damage, Schönfire dare not touch this Karma right now. But he'll be the one to pick up the kill.
At least they get one, Skimmy. So overall, it is a kill-for-kill trade on the top side of the map. Invictus is getting those little grubs that he's picked up all three. So honestly, not the worst there. Yes, Rilla is going to suffer at the hands of not being able to pick up that CS. He's already down 30, Skimmy. But I mean, it's a 1-for-1 and you get the grub. So already going better than it was last game.
So he is. They'll be hoping that they can actually utilize those grubs this time around, rather than just constantly being pushed back and having to hold waves and conceding themselves that first move. Wudon with a massive amount of shove is actually going to rotate through mid. Going to be upset that the Scatter of the Week did not connect. Otherwise that could have been potentially a summoner at the very least being burnt here onto Kislei's Azir. I think he was, with those spidey senses, suspecting something awry. Did rotate himself through to mid 2 to try and offer a helping hand, but we're already seeing a massive lead, aren't you? 20 CS up. I mean, Kislei's, it doesn't matter, LeBlanc or this champion too. I'm just going to have an absolute clinic.
Yeah, I mean, Kisei has always been one of those players who you are worried about playing against in lane, especially if he does get the attention. He didn't really get any attention this game, but indirectly, because of how much pressure his bot lane was creating, he sort of has the freedom to play how he would like, right? You can already see that CS lead that you mentioned, those plates going down as well. And now it's a question of what can you actually defend here as Kanga, right? Because you do have this priority here in your bot lane. You do have level 6 coming through soon on this Ashe. You can see that XP bar a couple minions away from ticking over. So suddenly, your own jungle doesn't become a very safe place if you're Invictus.
Yeah, you say that. It was a bit of an awkward standoff there for a second, wasn't it? With Schönfire in the area, looking at the enemy blue, and Invictus hovering near his own Gromp, saying, is a gank going to happen? I see our bot lane is pushed up. Surely the Xin is in the vicinity, which we both saw was to be the case, but not willing to really commit either side to anything crazy just yet. So Invictus will be able to pick up this one eventually. He's going to be scattered out by Benvi's Hawk, but Schönfire is actually going to opt for a different way into the lane. This time going to sneak on through those lane bushes. Out goes the Ashe ult, and China Crystalero going to find its mark, but a little bit too early, a little bit too gung-ho here, as Schönfire was nowhere near to engage.
Yeah, it's just a bit too far here. Interesting that Schönfire also came down here. This would be a very unexpected timer for a counter gank, right? Because all of his top camps are spawning, so just throwing out that arrow, a little bit of harass, and constantly playing that mind game scheme of, my jungler could be here at any moment, and if you get hit by an arrow, you're going to go down. So a lot of pressure still being piled on just by the fact that Schönfire could be there.
Yeah, if nothing more, maybe Benvi just trying to bait out a flash and say, look, now this bot lane has not had it for the last 10 minutes. You know, it's just an easy gank this lane signal. Back to top lane we look again. Tien currently with a bit of a major CS lead, to be said. Despite falling down for that kill, he's up by 20. Obviously, a fair bit of that is going to be recouped as Wudon catches the wave now. but it just seems to be one of those champions. You can push him down, but farms up an absolute storm.
Yeah, Vladimir in lane, especially with the Ghost, is quite untouchable unless you're bringing someone else to the lane, right? You're very comfortable picking up a little bit of CDR as he has now with the boots and the amp tome. Just be able to throw out Qs as much as you can, and you just simply out-sustain the Jax, right? So even if you are taking even a slightly losing trades, you are very comfortable keeping him in lane, forcing him to burn that TP to get back in. Because if this Jax is having to TP back to lane Skimmy, he's not able to use the bot lane, and that is really the focal point of this game so far.
Certainly has been. Really, bot lane has been the highway to success, right? Whichever bot lane is flourishing, then kind of just transitions into other lanes winning as a product of that. The jungler being drawn all over the show to not necessarily get ahead on their own forefront, but be told, I need you to babysit. Now, Invictus has kind of broken the mold a fraction. He's up by a little bit at the moment, trying to farm up an absolute storm to be a bit of a menace in his own right, have that ability to isolate out a key target and take them down. But I'm still imagining, much like you said, with the setup that he would be looking to evolve his Void Spikes first.
Yeah, and in competitive, it's either that or an ultimate evolve as this Ash Arrow lands. Kisei's going.
Kisei's all in for this one. Flash Streamer Shuffle into the Emperor's Divide. Out goes Unleash the Power. And, well, Fury's not stacked up enough just yet. Not enough damage, not enough orbs. And we'll feel the wrath of yet another sniper from Benvi.
Yeah, we have to check this guy's PC at some point. Every single arrow he throws, it feels like it lands here. His top lane is also trading. But that mid lane, it's his ability to move up, it's his ability to plant the vision like he has now. They just have complete control of both bot lane and mid, and that makes it so hard for when you're playing Syndra, this immobile carry, to actually push up, down 20 CS, and Kisei just picked up an assist as well.
But he certainly did, and Kisei was fully all in on the trust factor, wasn't he? He saw the Ashe ult go out, instant flash, dash across, and make sure that, hey, we're going for this play, it's going to work, and I'm all in on this one. Which is what you like to see, right? You like to see that kind of killer conviction, and then the proof of the product coming from that one as well. So we'll wait to see what this pause is about. We can see that Schoenfire was currently looking to try and take some Void Grubs off their own and make it 3 apiece for both sides. But look, we need to have a pause at least once a stream. It's actually in our contract.
Yep, we do. We need to see these players' pretty faces. I can see Benvi's got a lot of protein powder in the background there, so maybe that's what's been, I guess, facilitating these Ash arrows. Bit of meditation as well, and they just look cool, calm, and collected this side of Ground Zero. You could see in the previous game, Kanga looked a bit more frustrated with the outcome. Obviously, it's going to help if you're winning, but it seems like Ground Zero do have a very nice team environment. Everyone's happy to laugh. Even when TN was down 0-3, he was still having a smile. So, speaks to positive things behind the scenes.
Well, certainly does. I mean, it's very important. I think sometimes a little bit overlooked, right? It's just a case of, cram as much star power into a team as possible and say, now go, be a super team, go work. Which I think is one of the shortcomings of Schoenfire's team last split, right? I mean, PGG, we had all these grand expectations, and what did they come? It's like 4th, and then 5th and 6th, right? It was really, unexpected. So you have to wonder, what went wrong in that regard. But either way, it's good to see that obviously they're starting on the right foot here today. They found a comp that works. They found champions that complement the style they're looking to try to aim towards. And it's certainly giving Kanga a few headaches, even if they are throwing them curveballs with these very much, solo Q-esque style champs. Yeah,
I think that's the game plan here, right? Is to make the game as non-standard as possible. But to be honest, so far this game, Skimmy, has been going a lot better than game 1, right? Yes, there were those few similar plays towards the bot lane where the bot lane of Kanga were getting dove, but at least they managed to equalize somewhat in terms of the kills across the game completely. So if they manage to hold out with this bot lane, obviously that's not something you want to be saying when you're playing Karma Varus, but if they do manage to hold out, given the deficit that they have, there will come a point where this Varus really starts to come online, and the poke that he offers is quite relevant into something as short-ranged as the Kalista.
It certainly is. It's worth noting just sort of some of the item spikes we're at right now, still working our way towards that first fully fledged build. Obviously no mythic items anymore in Season 14, but no major crazy snowball effect at 10 minutes into this one. Still a lot of components for everybody to cycle on through. But good news for Kanga is they've actually been able to deny one of the Drakes, so no clean sweep here for Ground Zero this time around. And as I say that, down goes the Yeoman's, picked up now by Reela in a top lane. However, Tien going to go for a cheeky little engage of his own by hitting him back with some pain of his own. So an ult, not traded for an ult, Wooden's still holding on to his one, but Schoenfire's in the area and Wooden's taking 0 chances, the biggest recall back to base seemingly.
Or is he? I think he wants his wave, Skimmy, but Schoenfire's found him.
He certainly has. One man stunned, leaps across onto Tien, looks to try and find what he can, but he goes into the blood pool, flashing away afterwards. And to find nothing out of that one really feels bad.
And on the other side of the map, the Fate's call gets Benvi out of dodge, so just a massive lost wave there from Wudon, who, like you said, he was out, Skimmy. All he had to do was channel the base, but now he misses the wave anyway. He gets killed, and now this is a 25 CS lead in this top lane. This Vladimir pick working out much more like I imagined Tien intended it to.
A little bit better this time, feeling a little bit more calm and collected. Receives one gank and says, look guys, everything is sorted. Still going to go for the rush on the Cosmic Drive for all that mobility. Make sure that he can try and space out the Jax, you have to imagine, but he's going to be looking to try and keep him in check for the meantime. Spear of Shojin actually going to be picked up here by Invictus. All about that burst damage, that one killer punch if he can identify one isolated member. But bot lane, you're still really hoping that this Varus and Karma can find a moment to either put some damage into these plates before they fall down in a minute, or get a chance to rotate mid.
Well, I mean, looking at the bot lane now, Skimmy, they do actually have the control of the wave until Shenfire is going to show on vision, so it's definitely not as desperate of a situation as it was before, right? They do have the ability to contest, especially now that this Youmuu's is completed for the Varus, right? He is going to be able to offer some actually relevant damage. To me, the issue now is looking at this mid-jungle items, right? The Titanic Hydra already coming online for the Xin Zhao. That's basically an assassin item in the hands of this champion, and then Kisei already having the Nash's Tooth as Tien getting feisty again.
In with the ultimate, straight into the blood pool as a result afterwards. A lot of damage afterwards, he's got him! He's popped him from afar, and he's found his vengeance. I've learnt my lesson from 29 minutes of gameplay in Game 1. And this time, after one gank, we've equalized the scoreboard, and now I'm getting the solo kills.
And Skimmy, this is where the matchup gets absolutely brutal, as Invictus might try to find Tien here. There's no Ghost, no ultimate, but he does have the flash.
He's got blood pool up and available. Instant flash, taking no chance at the leap to follow the Void Spikes to try and slow him on down. He's back into the Invis to try and get that extra auto attack damage, but straight away denied. And Tien just walks away.
And that's it, Skimmy. All they can do is watch. It feels like every time Kanga try to force a play, somehow Ground Zero get out. So now you're staring down the barrel of a Vladimir who's 2 levels up, who's 2 kills in his back pocket. And meanwhile, you're losing your bot lane turret. You can't do anything but watch. It's just a masterclass from all across the map here is Schönfire.
And it's enough to bait out the Chain of Corruption, which was a wide miss there onto Schönfire, who caused a few headaches onto Kurak. Well, we're watching. There's Narrow coming out from the Ash. Where does it go this time? It's looking towards top lane. It's onto Wudon from bot to top. He does not miss.
But Skimmy, this Rift Herald is very low here. Invictus might have ended up leashing it for the side of Ground Zero. Keep in mind there's no smite, but if he runs back into this pit, he's going to be facing down 2 Ground Zero members. That's just a leash into the hands of this Vladimir.
And it feels like a great play, right? Knowing that Schönfire just made a play towards the bot lane, sure, make a cross-map attempt at their Herald, but the fact that Ground Zero is so strong that they can just simply rotate and say it's not happening, even if you do have smite advantage. Ground Zero once again in a really strong position.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Herald in hand as well to be able to break something like this mid lane turret here. The good thing about the Varus and Syndra on the same team means that your mid lane wave clear is actually quite strong. So having the Herald there can be nice to break it, as Kalista is not the easiest champion to siege with. But now it becomes so tricky. Once these lanes get longer, you really question how something like the immobile Syndra, like the immobile Varus can fare in these lanes. As Wudon, he's picked up the Trinity Force, he's going in again.
This would be the paradise right now. Long lanes and a Trinity Force to try and run you down and ramp things up. He goes for the lead, but the amount of lifesteal that came through for Tien there, I think it even caught Jax off guard.
And Schönfire's here as well, right? It's not a fair 1v1. He does have the red buff in hand though, so a little bit of sustain is on the cards. But Schön, once again, he's always where he needs to be, making sure that Wudon cannot take advantage of this Vladimir who doesn't have flash currently.
You can see Tien almost baiting him, saying, oh, look at me, I'm so hopeless, come gank me. But then Tien knows that Schönfire is there, just out of vision. Be waiting to capitalize on that. As now going to rotate through, up towards the enemy chickens, see what they can find. There's going to be 3 members of Kanga actually coming together to guarantee that that one went their way. So they are going to group up seemingly as 4. Let's try and take down their second turret by opening up the mid-tier 1.
Yeah, and keep in mind the Azir is the one with the Herald here, so he has rotated up towards the mid lane to be able to get this charge off, as will be Schönfire piloting it. I love this mechanic. I just love the driving. It's the Ash Arrow. Ooh, narrowly dodged by Kurak.
Far too close for comfort there. Invictus on the edge, waiting for his moment to strike. But look at Fury. He found his moment. Massive shutdown, taking out Limes there. Kisei fighting the second in this affair. Can Kanga answer back? Invictus wants to find that straggler. He wants to find that one identified or one isolated member. But you know, Ground Zero just peeling away to the bot side and completely invalidating that champion.
Yeah, they've got heaps of bursts and do actually manage to take down Lemus, but the important thing is the control of the bot side jungle is still very much in the hands of Ground Zero. They're going to be able to head towards this Ocean Drake after that fight on the mid lane. And a successful 2 Rift Herald charges as well, right? So yes, it's a 1-for-1, but ultimately you're feeling quite good about that if you are Ground Zero.
Another attempt to try and look at taking down this Vladimir, but Cinnamons again just going to freeze that one right underneath his tower. It starts off with the arrow, doesn't connect, but having just hit the headbutt, you can see that Refury is thinking, you're overcommitted. It's an easy one-shot, look at that.
Yeah, it's a huge scout of the week to be able to find that kill into Lemus here, and unfortunately for Schönfire, he's actually trapped inside of that Rift Herald, right? He's targeting it towards the turret, so not able to provide any peel for his AD carry at that moment. Once he gets out, he is able to start doing some damage, but luckily, that mechanic there favoring the side of Kanga. So definitely taking advantage of this high CC comp as we see a rare miss there from Benvy's Assault.
I know what it is, and much like we talk about Caster Curse, I think he's heard that you said somebody needs to check his PC, so you got to miss a few just to make sure that there's no allegations being chucked around like that anymore, right? So 2 in a row, I'm sure third time lucky.
Yeah, and it gets scarier and scarier, right, to walk into this jungle. Luckily, your Kha'Zix is a bit tankier than what you had last game, but even then, you don't really have anyone who you can reliably send to face check these bushes, right? Into the likes of a Jin Zhao or even an Assault, you're going to be getting one shot. So Ground Zero being very methodical, but yet very progressive with the way that they're moving their vision up, controlling this topside quadrant, and denying Invictus from even entering it.
Yeah, so much vision control as well, right? Very defensively orientated is that of Kanga's, just to try and see, okay, where are they? You can see as we toggle the vision now, very pushed back to say, okay, is it too late by the time we've gone for that one? Really going for the Chain of Corruption, instant flash aways. Both AD carries trade that to try and make a fight break out here in the mid lane. The chains, or the tether rather, from the Karma broken instantly. And Tien's on the wraparound. Out he goes, identifying that, hey, that's a lonely marksman. Why does Varus have no support? Can he do damage? Well, not into his Zen, he cannot. Refu gonna find the stun. Same for Benvy, but Ground Zero just showcased it. We've got a 6k gold lead. Why are you trying to fight us? That's 1, that's soon to be 2. The bot lane of Kanga no longer exists.
Kurak starts it off with a flash ultimate that ends up being flashed itself and then just collapsed upon by the sheer priority that Ground Zero have over this map. It feels like everywhere you go, they always have the first move, and it just results in an absolute collapse of the bot lane for Kanga. TN now, this Vladimir is looking incredibly scary with the Cosmic Drive already completed. As we take a look at the gold here, we can see that it is all Ground Zero at the top of the standings.
That it certainly is, and really you are looking at Refury being the saving factor there, salvation in a way. He's already hit one massive Scatter of the Week into a one-shot, but he needs to stay relevant, he needs to stay alive. That was the key takeaway from game 1, right? He was a very strong component in their arsenal, but you know he was very easy to take down as a result too. Archangels complete their the resistance, the ability to get that shield is absolutely crucial, but you're surrounded by so many Fed members on Ground Zero, it's going to be such an uphill battle.
Yeah, it absolutely will be. You're looking at the damage that they have here. It really is targeted onto that one person, but Woodon has found Tien in an extended lane.
Can he get it this time? Surely this time. The arrow just barely misses. Tien's in trouble this time. No blood pool. He's already burnt it. He's got flash. And I think he just wanted to get into that bush to flash away afterwards. Barely misses it, but Woodon, he's going to feel good about that.
That's it, Skimmy. It's this extended lane for this Jax. It doesn't matter how fed the Vladimir is. If you're left alone with this Jax for long enough time, he will be able to take you down. And now, Skimmy, it's not just that kill, but it's also this turret here. Woodon getting his kill and putting it to even better use.
3 stacks, and it's all passive damage, all helping their cause of finding that first turret in this game to try and even out that map. And also the playing field, really, because they're down 6,000 gold. They're sort of staring at a very similar situation again, where Baron's not too far away at being a real consideration, and Ground Zero certainly, even though one dragon was denied, do have a soul point to look forward to as well. But once again, it's almost like that trump card that we talk about, where it's like, we know that's what you're expecting us to do, but we have so much map control, let's just keep shoving the waves, keep drawing you around and dispersing you, never really giving you that true 5v5 you're hunting for.
That's it, Skimmy, and the thing is as well is you have so much Baron DPS on the side of Ground Zero that any time that they're hovering in the fog of war towards that Baron, you have to be scared, right? It's a Kalista is here, both very strong at taking this objective rather, with the amount of DPS that they have. So especially with how fed Kisei is on this Azir, they really need to be careful from the side of Kanga.
Everybody knows that Woodon is here. You can see that little wall just planted out of range in the brush towards the Drake pit. He's just going to spot out Woodon trying to be nimble and cheeky with it, but now Team actually going to opt for a face check and say, I don't really care. You can run me down these very long lanes, but I'll still have a crack at it. If I get you low enough, maybe you won't even try and entertain the idea of jumping on him, but he will. He certainly will. Hemoplay going out. Counter-Strike getting ready. In comes the ult. Doesn't connect this time. TP to try and back up Woodon as he counter-strikes again. Ryu instantly jumps in with the TP. Straight away flashes to the safety of their mid-tier 2, or their bot tier 2 rather, and chucks out the ult to try and take out Schoenfire, but his ult denies a whole bunch of that burst. And Reela on the back end there with a Chain of Corruption to try and prevent the cavalry from acting as reinforcements.
It's actually a bit messy there from the side of Ground Zero, right? Tien starts that off with a little bait, trying to force Woodon to jump in while his jungler's there, but it's Ryu Fury with the TP that saves the day, and unfortunately, he has to commit his flash to avoid getting one-shot as he arrives, but no one ends up going down, and Woodon going to be committing his TP towards his top lane to try to get the turret, but here's Kisei, this level 15 Azir, who's almost got his third item death cap in inventory. I really don't know who is dealing with this mid laner.
He's been a menace. He was farming at 10 CS per minute before, very early on into the game before he found that first kill, but now he's an absolute weapon. Unleashed, left to his own devices, letting the rest of his team play their own game, whilst he's just playing farming simulator. This time, Benvi's hit the mark. He's found that shot, and he's got that kill. Ryu down for 40 seconds. And I dare say it, Max, maybe now Baron is on the cards.
That is absolutely all you need here. With how quickly this Baron goes down, it'd be a miracle if Kanga can contest. The thing I think they have to do is send Invictus in, try to get some vision for him and hope that he can go for a steal, but there's no wards available, nothing's coming out here. It's going to have to be a blind steal.
Looking like that right now, chucking out skill shots as a Hail Mary across the wall. 1, 2, 3, Woodon on the flank saying, Ground Zero, what is your posturing? What is your positioning? Are you going for this one? Or is this a bait and a Baron dance, which it actually is? Baron got fairly low, but they were not willing to risk the gamble despite being that far ahead.
That just speaks to their pedigree as players, right? They know that that is almost a 80-20 play with the amount of damage that they have onto that Baron. But like you said, Skimmy, they don't want to take the gamble. They don't want Invictus to jump over and give themselves any chance of equalizing the game. And this just feels so hard for Kanga, right? Because what are your avenues back into this game, really? The Jax versus Vladimir, perhaps, but even then, Vladimir's quite strong and can just resist this split push in the side lane. So with 3 minutes left to the Ocean Soul, Skimmy, Kanga have to do something, or else it's just going to be deja vu of last game.
It certainly is, right? It's the case once again of Ground Zero finding one pick and then going for the dance again to try and draw in more to not only go for the objective, but ultimately look to try and open up some inhibitors inside the enemy base too. Now, you can see that right now, Tien is positioned around the top half of the map, surrounded by 5, 3 actually peeling away towards the mid side as Benvi looking to try and keep them interested for the meantime. But Woodon running members down does force up the Hemoplagues. That's a win for him individually. Ground Zero just stomping down mid. Benvi going to chuck out a very defensive ult because he realizes he's in trouble, so out goes the Fate's Call. Lima's going to chuck him away to safety. And look at this meticulous macro from Ground Zero.
That's the thing, right? They trade the Hemoplague on the other side of the map, but you look bot lane and there's suddenly an Azir with 3 items almost pushing down your turret, and Woodon will be trading here, but that's all he can really do. It feels like Kanga, they need to be more decisive, but what tools do they really have to actually start off these fights, Skimmy? It's got to be a Varus ultimate or a Syndra stun. Besides that, you're kind of just running at them, so going to be needing to do everything they can. A cheeky little push play like this could work.
It certainly has worked. The face check, they needed something of a bit of desperation, and they've removed such a sore spot from this game. The Ash has been so annoying, but look at that damage. A 2-man shove back. Kisei says, I've got 300 CS at 25 minutes. That's what I can do. Give me the triple.
He's quietly farmed up for the rest of the game, and there he makes his presence known with the death cap just completed in base. TP's in, secures the triple kill, and secures the Baron.
Unbelievable turn of events there. So much damage and so much punishment over what seems like such a premeditated but almost predictable solo QS face check style of play. Now with the Baron in tow, they find themselves up by a monumental amount, up by 11,000 gold. 90 seconds to look forward to that Ocean Soul again. And they can look to try and put the final nail in that coffin.
And Skimmy, I'm going to ask the same question I did before, is Ryu Fury just misses Lemus. Who is killing this Azir? Right, this guy does so much damage that if you're even within his range for 2 seconds, you're going to be taken down. Woodon tries he might, has found Tien again, but there are members of Ground Zero here.
Oh, he's just barely missed again, has Benvi. Wooden's been very elusive when it's come to getting ganked by multiple members, but multiple are in the area. They know that Jax really is their only lifeline, their only chance at clawing themselves back into this game. And even down this much gold, they show respect and throw multiple members towards the mid lane as well. A fight continues as Schoenfire jumps in, but in his face goes the ultimate out of Refury, making sure that he does fall on down. Liam is in trouble, flash, heal, and he tries to bring in Ashe, but Ashe is not enough. Ashe soon to be the second one on the chopping block, and it's a double kill for Syndra. Make it a triple! And these mid laners are trying to be the difference.
They're trying to be the difference, Skimmy, and Refury is doing a good job of keeping the Vladimir at range, but can he do the same for Kisei? This Emperor's Divide is still available.
Tien trying to act like a bit of a ward right now. Look at Kisei jump into life! He keeps this top laner alive. There is your first ace. And there is your play, which screams volumes to just how strong they are.
He is playing like a man possessed here on this Azir. You can see the fight starts off with a pick onto Jin Zhao while things are happening bot lane. He does end up going down, and it's looking good for Kanga here, Skimmy. It's looking like they're actually able to go forward here with this damage onto Limus that Invictus manages to find. But look at Kisei in the back. He's untouched. He takes down Rilla. He takes down Kurak. And then all that's left is him for him to get back into the fight, and it's all done.
He's everywhere at once. He really is getting it done, getting the most farm, getting the most kills, and getting the most damage done too. He's in their face, and a constant reminder that you can take us down, but there are many more threats just lurking around the corner for you to go for as well. Just that beautiful shuffle on in and really make sure that Invictus's one play, one game plan is, I will identify that that's who I'm going for. He can't even get that. He's been farming up an absolute storm, but he's down 70.
Yeah, he can't do anything now, Skimmy. His whole jungle is the property of Ground Zero, and so is the Ocean Soul at this point. Much similar to the last game, you really do wonder how the damage is actually going to come through to be able to kill these members, right? Not only is it a Vladimir with all the healing that he has at level 16, but you pile an Ocean Soul on top of that, on top of his Jin Zhao as well, as they try to find Kisei, but the Chain of Corruption misses.
Top of this one lands, instant cleanse out of that one. They know that these could be the dying moments of this game. These could be the deciding factors. There's that first inhibitor falls on down. Tien jumps in, baits their attention, draws them into that false sense of security. And it's easy pickings then for the rest of Ground Zero to entertain the idea that, hey, well, if you're going to give us the kill, we'd be rude not to take it. Wood on down for 45 seconds. They need him. They need somebody to step up, leap in, and start a fight. But Refury gets his Archangels popped. All that shielding now gone to waste as one Nexus turret falls on down. They need to run back to their fountain and regen some HP real quickly, because Ground Zero with that Ocean Soul could stick around forever.
They can stay around, Skimmy, as Tien gets taken very low, but like you mentioned, there is that sustain coming online. 20 seconds on Woodon, and only one turret remaining with the ult.
Oh, he's really tried to try and get something out of that play, but the ult! Benvi with the killing blow as a support Ashe. That's going to feel good for them. Final turret to be fallen on down. That's been secured. Kanga on borrowed time, borrowed life, and blinking health bars, doing whatever they can to try and upset this one, but it's not to be. 30 minutes, Ground Zero secure a clean 2-0 on their very first game.
A commanding 2-0 for this newly assembled Ground Zero roster here in Skimmy. I just cannot forget about Kisei's performance in that last game there. He was playing like a man possessed, showing Refury that this is what a real mid laner looks like. This is someone who is going to absolutely carry his team, and he did absolutely that.
This is the caliber that you're dealing with. This is the reason I've held that title of the best mid laner in O's for such a long time. And if these new players are going to come around and showcase why they deserve that title, easier said than done. A beautiful performance from Ground Zero as they close out the day and the series in a clean, sweet fashion, taking away the 3 points. We'll break down that game right after this.